The reason we know that's the Quran is because Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us that this is the Quran. Does that make sense? He told it because Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Where does God come into that?
I'll give you an example.
Right,
for
where
instance,
does God come into that?
so Muhammad received verses of the Quran, right?
Yeah.
And he spoke the verses. Yeah?
Yeah.
Like Surah Fatiha, Baqarah, all the way to Nas, right?
Whatever you just said,
Yeah.
just then, where does God come into that?
What do you mean, where does God come
Where is
into
he?
it?
Like,
God created the Quran. God is the one that spoke the Quran. This is the word of Allah, right? The Quran is uncreated. It's the speech of Allah, right? And He spoke it, Allah gave it to Muhammad, right? Now Muhammad, when he speaks, he was given the Quran and also his own speech. Yeah? Pardon?
where's the evidence from the Quran?
About what? Muhammad was given the Quran. It wasn't given to you, was it?
It was by God.
Through Muhammad.
Yeah.
Now how do you know that that is the Quran? Because Prophet Muhammad said, this is the Quran. And everything else I speak is my speech.
Where does he say that? What verse?
It's not about what verse. So you're saying that everything Muhammad said is Quran? Or some things he said is Quran and some...
Everything in the Quran was conveyed by Muhammad.
Yes. So how do you distinguish?
It's God.
So how do you distinguish between the part that is the Quran and the part when Muhammad speaks normally? How do you know?
Because God says, Muhammad says, or he'll say, O believers, O people of the scripture.
Okay.
He'll address who he's talking to. Muhammad, he'll say, and the word say
Well,
is in the Quran.
not every ayah is like that.
Yeah,
Not every ayah says say.
It's good you said that, because guess the word say
Yeah.
is in the Quran 338 times.
Okay.
Around. Say. It starts with say. So God has told Muhammad to say, and then
Yeah, but
then
not
Muhammad will
every
say.
verse was revealed like that. Not every verse was revealed like that. Let me give you an example.
Yeah,
Muhammad, when he speaks, sometimes when it's the Quran, he would distinguish and he would tell the companions, this is the Quran. And then when other times when he would speak, he would say, this is not Quran. He's telling us what is and what isn't the Quran. Do you understand what I mean?
God is.
No, Muhammad is telling
No,
us.
God, he said say.
No,
Then Muhammad will say.
God is
But
not
God
here.
has told
God is
him
not
to
on the.
say,
God is not.
And God has said
Oh
say.
my days.
At the beginning, yeah.
Can you
Isn't
just?
that
Can you?
hard?
No, come on. I think you're very confused.
No, but you're trying to tell me.
No.
I have to believe Muhammad.
You're very confused. Seriously.
I don't. I have to believe God. I believe that.
You cannot know what the Quran is unless Muhammad tells you what the Quran is. I'm a Muslim, by the way. You know I'm a Muslim. I'm not a Christian. I'm a Muslim. You know that. Huh?
Yeah, but I get.
Do you think I was a Christian?
Yeah, but I don't get why you're saying like.
Listen. The Quran that we have today, the only way you know it's the Quran is because Prophet Muhammad said, I received this from Allah.
Because God did it. God says, I will compile it and I will preserve it. He will compile it. He will preserve
Through who?
it.
Through who? Muhammad. He's the prophet. That's the concept of a prophet. The prophet receives the revelation, and when the prophet speaks, he will distinguish that this is the Quran and this is my speech. You understand? And then his companions recorded the Quran, and they also recorded his speech and actions. So you have two types of revelation. You have the Quran and you have the Sunnah. They both came the same way, through his companions. Because there's no way you can distinguish what is Quran and what is the speech of Muhammad except through Muhammad and his companions. And both the Quran and the Sunnah have been preserved in exactly the same way, through these companions and through their companions and through their companions, all the way back till today. But you're wrong. That's why I'm trying to explain that you're wrong. I'm a convert as well.
right? So you come to, I'm a convert. You have to believe this belief. Okay, take it. Okay. You have to believe mine. No, it's a Shia one. Okay. No, it's a Sufi one. Like, no. Who is anyone to
Very
tell
good,
me
very good, very good.
what I can believe?
That's good.
Because I was a Christian and I was like,
I was the same.
I have to believe this one. No, you have to believe this. I've had it. No.
By the way, listen,
tell me.
I totally. Let me tell you.
believe in God.
Listen, what you're saying, I know, is through complete sincerity. I know.
Yeah.
I know you're not just denying to be spiteful. I can understand that. Listen, I was in your position, right? I was a Christian before, and the hadith for me initially felt like the Bible, where the Bible is a collection of writings by different people, you know, which came after Jesus. And so the hadith sounded like that. It's a collection of writings that came after Muhammad, about Muhammad. Yeah? But let me tell you, we're not saying that all the hadith, we're not saying, let me explain. We're not saying that all the hadith are authentic. The hadith, the scholars managed to authenticate which ones are authentic and which ones are not. Okay? We're not saying all hadith, no. We're only saying the ones that we can trace back through the lineage to, yeah, exactly. So in history, the same way we...
I just don't believe it's the law of God. And what's happening is, it's the law, but it goes against
So
God.
let me explain
I'm just going to goodwilling, get to God. And,
you know, I can feel your sincerity, right?
Yeah, it's
but
peaceful.
let me
There's no force
but let me
belief.
I know, but you're missing
If
out.
these do
Can
that, and that's-
let me explain something, right? There's a huge part which you're missing, because the Muslims all around the world for 1400 years, the authentic way of understanding revelation is that there's two types of revelation. The first type is the one that Allah revealed to Prophet Muhammad in the Quran. This is the Quran.
So what if a Shia told me now and said that? What?
They believe the same.
So, right.
Shia, Sunni, we also believe this, by the way.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't have to believe either. I'm from Ireland.
But then you've got your... Then, no, you don't. You don't have to believe either, but you're on a different
Christian
religion.
people told me, no, don't go to that church. Go to that one.
No, it's not. It's not.
So I don't want to. I just want to
There's a difference. There's a difference between...
I just want to believe
Sister,
in God. That's it.
sister,
Yeah.
what you're saying is correct.
Yeah.
But you're missing a point. It's a really important point as well.
And it causes division.
No, listen.
That's the main thing.
What
He said,
causes
do not be
division?
in the same, do not be divided.
The Quran tells us
That's what he's saying.
to follow the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, doesn't it? The Quran tells you follow Prophet Muhammad.
No, all the messages.
The Quran specifically tells you to follow Prophet Muhammad.
No,
He
it specifically tells us to follow all the prophets.
but
And not to make one better than the other.
No problem.
Not to make,
But
not
the
to make
Quran
difference
tells us to follow the
between
Prophet
them.
Muhammad,
Between any-
to obey Muhammad. How are you supposed to obey Muhammad when you don't know anything about him?
Obey Muhammad. If God's
Do you
given
accept
his
Muhammad as a
word,
prophet?
If he's given us his word from the Torah to the Gospel to the Psalms.
No, we don't believe in the Bible. Muslims don't believe in the Bible.
After all of that, go and obey a messenger.
Listen, can I, sister?
No, he means
Do you believe in?
obey the
Do you believe the
Quran. To me,
Bible?
that's what it
Listen,
means. Obey God and obey the messenger. The
sister,
angel.
can I just explain something, please?
Who brought the Quran? You know, the messenger is the Quran. The Quran is a messenger.
For us as Muslims,
Yeah.
listen,
It doesn't say obey
listen,
Muhammad.
listen.
Where
It
does
does.
it say obey Muhammad?
We'll find the ayah for you.
Alright.
Can you find the ayah about obeying the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
And if, yeah.
So listen,
It's his word.
listen.
I mean, it's God's word.
Listen,
That's
sister.
right.
For us, we don't believe in the Bible. We believe in a Torah given to Moses and in Injil given to Jesus. This doesn't exist today. Okay? It's not the Bible.
God is still in there.
No, the Bible is a collection. The Bible, just 1 minute. The Bible is a collection of
Those who are
biographies.
Christian, when they read this, they will recognize it like they recognize their own son.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is what happened. Because nobody, that you're saying that whole book is not one bit of God.
I'm saying that the Bible,
Torah, the Gospel,
I'm
the
saying-
Psalms, it's God. And it's the same in the Quran.
Can I explain?
Yeah, that's right.
Can I explain?
But that's why.
What
Every
is-
time I'll speak a little bit, I'm saying that is, you know, that's what.
Can I explain? There's a difference between the Islamic.
What's the difference between you telling me to follow these hadith?
You're not letting me speak. I can't even.
Make it a law of God.
Can I explain? From our perspective, the Torah is a book that was given to Moses. What they call the Torah today is, they claim, is authored by Moses, not something given to Moses. The first 5 books. The Injil was a book given to Jesus. Yeah? What they have today is a collection of books, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John and Paul, etc., authored after Jesus, about Jesus. That's fine. They can have that religion. But that's not the Islamic concept of Injil. Does that make sense? Our concept is Jesus was given a book called the Injil. Okay? Number 1. The Bible today is not the Torah and Injil. Does it have some truth in there? Yes. It speaks about Moses parting the sea, Isa, Jesus being born miraculously. Does that mean it's revelation? No. We can't trace the Bible back to Jesus or Moses. We're not saying that there's nothing true in there. If it agrees with the Quran, it's true. But it doesn't mean it's revelation. It can't be traced back to the prophets. Similarly, we have some hadith that can't be traced back to the Prophet Muhammad. We don't use them, we reject them. Okay, they're not authentic. We have many hadith that agree with Islam. Let me explain. We have many hadith that agree with Islam, but they're not authentic.
What's the difference with yours?
Huh?
What's the difference with yours?
With your what?
Shia.
We'll come to that in a moment. We'll come to that in a moment. But let me just finish this point. That's fine. But can I just finish? Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 minute. I'll explain. Give me 1 minute. I'll explain. It seems like you're setting your position, but you're not willing to even listen and understand the majority position on this, because you actually going to be following your own religion if you reject the hadith. This is your own religion. Because for us, the Quran and the Sunnah, the Quran and the Sunnah, the Quran and the Sunnah are both 2 different types of revelation. As we mentioned, can you put that one on? This is you can show the sister. This is the verse here. It says, "O you have believed, okay, obey Allah and obey the Messenger and those in authority among you." So it tells us to obey Allah and obey the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
No, you said it said Muhammad.
The Messenger, that's who it's speaking about.
No, you said it says obey
Okay, who's
Muhammad.
it speaking about
Even
then?
if it did, whether it did or it didn't.
Who's it speaking about then? Because now you're giving tafsir. This is very dangerous.
We're not ever going to believe what each other
Listen,
believes.
this is very
Now we're going
dangerous.
to believe what each other believes. He's talking right there.
Who's talking?
Yeah.
Who?
God is talking where he's speaking in the Quran.
Oh, in the Quran, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's speaking there.
You can't. We are required. We are required.
No, wait.
Okay, go on. Give your
Right,
tafsir.
so do you believe? No, I'm not giving you tafsir.
This is what you're doing.
No, but you do.
Listen, can I tell you? Every sect of Islam,
The whole chapter up.
every sect of Islam believes that that's talking about the Prophet Muhammad. But without hadith, how can you obey Muhammad? Pardon? Every sect of Islam believes that that's talking about Muhammad. Yeah, it believes that's talking. Every group of Muslims.
You just said sex.
Yeah, every sect.
God says about sex.
I'm not saying that the correct sect.
No, you said sex. If you read the Quran,
The Prophet Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us that the Muslims will be split into 73 sects. Yes, he did. We're not saying it's a good. No, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us that the Muslims will be separated into 73 sects. Okay. Now, we're not saying all the sects are correct. No. What we say? Let me finish, please. Okay.
I was just
Okay.
but
Listen, we can go around in circles. No problem. You don't have to believe it. Let me just finish off. From our perspective, the majority of Muslims, the people who claim to be Muslims, we believe the Quran. We believe in the Quran. We believe in the statements and the actions of the Prophet Muhammad as revelation. Okay. What I was saying to you is, you have no way of distinguishing between the Quran and the Sunnah unless Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, tells you this is the Quran and this is my speech and actions, because both of them have been preserved the same way through the Sahaba.
let's go to your Sunnah.
Yeah.
No contradictions in there.
Authentic.
Let's say the last sermon, or
What last sermon?
the three different stories, the three different things that he gave as getting so-called. I've left you.
So are you denying Hadith?
I've left you the book of God and my Sunnah, or number 3. I've left you the book of God and my family. Are you telling me I have to pick? So that's your own Hadith.
Okay, so you're
How can
rejecting.
you sit here and just push this on, because I'm not pushing, but I'm just saying.
So you're rejecting Hadith
If I
because.
choose one of them from your Hadith, one of the options that says the book of God,
Yeah.
who's anyone to come and tell me I'm wrong?
What do you mean?
Because that's from your Hadith. So according to you,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Just 1 minute. 1 minute. No, 1 minute. You can speak later if you want. So you're saying.
Quran and my family.
So
I've
you-
left you. Quran and my Sunnah. I've left you. The Quran. on its own.
So you have a problem with Hadith
No,
because.
I just believe the Quran. I don't.
Okay. Well, what I'll leave you with something to think about is, how do you know the Quran is the Quran? That's something. Go
How
home.
do you know which one to pick out
No,
of those 3?
no problem. You
If
go.
answer one
You
question of
go
mine,
home. No, you go
Yeah.
home.
No, answer. How can
Just
you?
1 minute.
No.
Go home
Yeah.
and have a think.
No.
How do you know? How do you know
Yeah.
that this is the Quran? And the way you know is through a chain of transmission. Okay, you just
I love God.
it's just coming. Yeah, it's just coming off your head now, and
I love
yeah.
love God.
I'm sure you do, and I do believe you're
I
sincere,
believe he will.
and I hope you're sincere. But if
someone's guidance, everyone's got different paths, everyone's got different journeys. You know, your eye colour is different to my eye colour. The skin colour is different. God says, I've made you tribes that you may know one another. Yeah? Don't push your mind onto yours, not this and that, and that's his teaching.
do you pray?
That's his teaching. No, but you're interrupting me. That's his
I'm
teaching.
interrupted.
That's his teaching. It's simple. And if somebody gets to age 60 or age 70, you know, how do their guidance still might not be done yet. God's given us a journey.
I totally understand that. The subject, what we're trying to, the thing we're trying to establish is, how do we know the Quran is the Quran? That's what I'm talking about. You can't just say it's not, though, because we have a chain of transmission back from the Prophet himself saying this is the Quran.